Hello, South Shore third graders. Welcome back to Math with Naz. I know that today you came prepared for this lesson with something to write with, so we're going to just get right into it. Today we're continuing on Module 1, Lesson 10, but we're going to do Lesson 10, Part 2. Get ready to learn more about parentheses. Okay, third graders, yesterday we worked with this problem and I drew this array. A guitar has 6 strings. How many strings are there on 3 guitars? Write a multiplication equation to solve. As a review, third graders, yesterday we drew this dotted line to separate one row and the other 2 rows. Remind me, please, what do each of these rows represent, the 3 rows? Shout it out. Yeah, the 3 rows represent the 3 guitars. What does the 6 represent in the story problem? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each row has 6 in it. What does that represent? Yeah, the 6 strings. So we're going to write a multiplication sentence again to match this. I've got one row, one group of 6 on top, and on the bottom I have 2 rows or 2 groups of 6. Remind me, what is the 1 and the 2 representing here? The 3 guitars. What does that represent? Is the 3 guitars the total number of groups or the size of groups? Yeah, 3 guitars is the number of groups. We have 1 guitar, 2 guitars, 3 guitars. Those are the groups. In each guitar is the size of the group, the number of strings. So what is the number of strings or the size of the groups? That's right, 6. So yesterday I told you today we would talk about parentheses. I say it, you say it, parentheses. Parentheses are a mathematician's kind of like their cheat sheet. It tells them what they should do first. You can group things together with parentheses knowing that you'll do that first. And you can break things up with parentheses to make it easier to do a bigger problem. Today we're going to use the parentheses to group things up. So I've got 1 times 6 and 2 times 6. And I know to get 3 times 6, I need to add the 1 and the 2 together. So I could just add 1 times 6 and 2 times 6 like I did yesterday. Get my 6, get my 12, then add those together. But I'm going to do it a little differently today. I'm going to group up the number of groups. How many groups are here? Shout it out. 1. Correct. How many groups are here? Shout it out. 2. So 1 plus 2. And I can use parentheses around 1 plus 2 to represent the number of groups. What would I multiply 1 plus 2 by to get the number of strings? Go ahead and pause the video and talk about it with your class or someone who's sitting next to you. Did you say 6? Yeah, I would totally multiply that times 6 because 6 is the number of, or the size of the group, 6 strings per guitar. So 1 plus 2 equals 3, and 3 guitars times 6 gets us right back to one of the problems that we had yesterday. If we add 1 plus 2, we get 3, and we have to multiply it times 6 to find out the number of groups. So here's my question. How does 3 times 6 relate to the story problem from yesterday? Pause the video and talk about how 3 times 6 relates to this. Third graders, 3 times 6 relates to this because there are a total of 3 groups, 3 guitars, and there's 6 in each guitar. 6 strings in each guitar. That's the size of the groups. Okay. Got a true-false story problem for you here. So 1 times 6 plus 2 times 6 equals 3 times 6. And I'm going to remember to use my parentheses because I'm going to do those independently. Is this true or false? Go ahead, pause the video, and discuss it with your class. Welcome back, third graders. So 1 times 6 is 6, and 2 times 6 is 12. 6 plus 12 is what? 10, 16 plus 2 is 18. What's 3 times 6? Let's use our array to find out. So let's skip count by 3s. 3 plus 3 is, shout it out, plus 3 is, plus 3 is, shout it out, what's 12 plus 3? Keep skip counting, 3 more is 18. So there's 1, 2, 3 guitars total with 6 in each guitar, and we have 18 strings. 18 equals 18. So this story problem is in fact true. This equation is true. All right, third graders, thanks so much for your hard work today. When you are looking at your Seesaw journal, remember that you can find the answer to a big multiplication equation by finding 2 small equations. And I know maybe you're thinking, Miss Nasripur, I know what 3 times 6 is, or I can skip count. I can find that easily. Yes, third graders, that's true. We don't necessarily need to break up 3 times 6, but what if you were doing 13 times 6? That would totally help you if you knew how to break them up. So do practice that skill today, because you will, later this year, definitely want to know how to break up a big multiplication equation into 2 smaller equations and add them together to find the answer to a larger multiplication equation. I'll show you what I mean, actually. This is a sneak peek of what you're going to learn later in the year. So if I have a larger equation like 13 times 6, I could totally count by 6 13 times, or I could count by 13 6 times, or I can break my 13 up into 10 and 6 and then multiply both of those times 6. Let me show you how that's done. So I would do 10 times 6. And again, that's just skip counting by 10 6 times. When you multiply anything times 10, skip counting is your best friend. So I'm going to skip count by 10 6 times. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 10 times 6 equals 60. So now I've just multiplied the 10 and 13. How many's left? Mistake. Found a mistake. 10 plus 6 does not equal 13. 10 plus 3 does. So what's left? That's right, that 3 that I got wrong. So I'm going to now multiply 3 times 6. What will I get? Well, you just spent the whole day over here doing it. 3 times 6 equals 18. Now, all I have to do to find 13 times 6 is add 18 plus 60, and I can definitely do that. 60 plus 10 is what? Shout it out. Yeah, 70. 70 plus 8, no ones over there, is 78. So 13 times 6 equals 78. Third graders, it would have taken me a much longer time to skip count to find 13 times 6. And because I know my tens facts, I could have done this in my head and come up with the answer just by breaking it down. So these strategies that we're teaching you right now are really going to come in handy later. So please make sure you're practicing. Thanks, third graders, for your hard work. Take care. Talk soon.